Okay. That's going. That's going. Okay. Do. Okay. Got my coffee. Ooh, I should charge this. Hey, Deanne, how's it going? How's your vacation? You're just on vacation, right? Where'd you go, if you don't mind me asking? I was just in Miami for 3 days. Cool part, it didn't rain. Bad part, it was for work. So, wasn't quite the same as a vacation. Oh, it's the last day, okay. Very cool. Also, Tunisia, wow, never been. My cousin went there. I don't know if it was for work, for fun. But, yeah, I had the opportunity to go. I didn't have the funds. I hear it's a pretty special place. I just haven't gone. The only place in Africa I've been to is Morocco, and it's almost not Africa if you think about it. Like it's so Middle East over Africa. So shout out to my fiance over there, pointing her direction. She's giving me death eyes and blushing, so kind of sums her up right there. I'm gonna make this a little more quiet, at least for me. Yeah, so I'm gonna let more people kind of pool in, but if you don't know, about a week ago, I hit 30k subscribers, which is very exciting. Obviously, not that much in the grand scheme of things. I want to be much more than this, but it is still a benchmark, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to just do a fun stream of an Ask Me Anything, and then after we start talking about some actually good horror movies for a video. Maybe a video I can possibly edit in its entirety today. We'll see. But my dog's coming back today, so you never know what that situation's gonna be like with the pup. But yeah. But yeah, we'll wait for some people to come in for sure, and then we'll kind of get this thing started. But Deanne, how have you been? I saw your comment on the recent video of mine, which was cool. And then I'm just going to also just adjust this a little, and then I wonder if more people would join if I had this in the background instead. It's a bit more catchy, I guess. I will see which one we do first. We got the coffee going. I don't know about you guys, but it is October 20. Wow, 20. I really need to get these videos out. And it is 75 degrees, 80 degrees yesterday. It's just stupid. Just real dumb. DN. I watched Challengers because of your recommendation. At first I found it boring, but I loved it in the end. That scene with the racket, Das Fire. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Of course. I think it was Yahtzee from the series Zero Punctuation who said that people don't really know what they like until they're exposed to it, you know? And we just keep buying the things or watching the things that we know we like. And it creates this kind of cycle of content. So when it comes to, like, let's say Disney remakes or Marvel films, things like that, I'm not saying they're all bad movies. Well, Disney remakes are. But they will continue to find an audience because people like them and they're going to keep clicking the thing they like. But if you just branch out a little bit more, if there's a risk, you might watch something that you hate, you might feel like you waste your time, but you might find something that you didn't even know you liked. Last year, I got super into, like, 19th century sailing because I watched the movie Master and Commander, and then I watched the miniseries The Terror, and I, like, obsessed with that time period and that profession. And I wouldn't have if I hadn't checked those things out. So, if I can tell, you know, a wide audience... What was that? I'm loud? Oh, I'll keep it down. When I'm glad to recommend Challengers to a lot of people because there's certainly those who are not going to enjoy Challengers. It might be too weird, too erotic, too focused on very, very flawed and even unlikable characters. But there will be those who love it. And I'm glad that you really liked the movie. So that makes me happy. The tennis scene at the end is fantastic. I mean, yes, granted, you know, it's a little unrealistic, especially the finale. I don't know if anyone, it's really a spoiler, but he lost. I'll just say that is an illegal move at the end. But it doesn't matter, right? Like, that wasn't really the point of the scene. So it kind of worked out. But yeah, very, very happy that you enjoyed it. So far, I mean, this is kind of a spoiler for my end of the year video, but so far, at least, Challenger's my favorite film of the year. I've had a couple come close. I really liked The Substance, which I will talk about today. I loved The First Omen, which was fantastic and kind of blew me away. I was really not expecting that to be good. Shout out again to Daisy for basically making us watch that film. There's no way I would have clicked on it otherwise. Again, like what I mentioned earlier, you have to take a risk sometimes when we are watching content. It's the only risk you can take. You're sitting there in a chair motionless. But a horror prequel sounded awful, and I didn't want to give it a chance, and that's my fault. And I was basically forced to watch it, and I was so glad I did because it's one of the best films I've seen this year. And pretty much everyone who saw it is saying the same. I mean, some people don't like it, but general consensus is, wow, that was much better than I expected. Misty. Has someone asked why people always run upstairs to get away? I mean, I could try to answer that. I don't think a film has, other than maybe Scream. The original Scream very much played a joke on a lot of the horror tropes. You know, the character mentions don't run up the stairs, and then like 5 minutes later a character does. It's just panic. I mean, that's all it is. I don't know if I would. I think my instinct is to look for the exit door, but not everyone has that. They see the first way out of a room, bless you, they see the first way out of a room, and that might be the stairs. And they just latch onto it. They're just not thinking. But it's not wise at all. Also, hi Misty, welcome to the stream. DN says the boiled one was also really creepy. That one scene where he was standing besides the bed was very eerie. Didn't like more though, just gross, not scary for me. That's fair. If you didn't like more, you should definitely not watch Mad God, because Mad God's like straight up disgusting. It worked for me, but it really goes places. I'll just say that. But yeah, we have 7, and we can kind of mosey on up to this section if we want. But yeah, this took a very long time to reach this benchmark, and I'm hoping that I can hit 50K much faster. October is certainly a strong month for me, but yeah, like November, December, YouTube in general, like people's channels usually dip. Less people are on YouTube. But then again, every year changes. You know, you can't rely on trends. You know, like they're written on stone tablets. So yeah, we can do either one of these, whatever people want to do. A little AMA or that. I have some notes written, but this will likely be the next video, and then I'll do a video essay on jump scares, and that should round out my videos in October. I had a trip in Miami that really kind of threw my schedule out of whack. But yeah, kind of just get this started. But then that my yearly 6 horror films video, I did that in like a day. I really should spend more time on it. I mean, it worked out. I think it's a good video, especially I quite like the script, but yeah, I like lost so much sleep. I was sick as a dog the next day. Depster, oh Deppy, he's got the deps. Sup, homie, playing the new Mario Party with some buddies at the moment, but just want to pop by and wish you a good stream. Excited for the jump scare essay, by the way. I am too. I just need to write it, so that's on the way. And DN says, by the way, don't want to hate. Sure you don't. But what are your Harry Potter takes? You gave part 6 4 stars and part 4 like 2.5. Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know, like, I think Goblet of Fire is a good book. You alright? You sound a little tired. Oh, I'm like deliberately trying to keep my voice down. I am a little tired though. I haven't slept really well, but I'm okay. I'm jazzed, and I got my coffee, so we're good. I don't think giving a Goblet of Fire 5 is bad. It's got some issues. I don't think the task with the dragon was good at all. It was way over the top and stupid, and it also didn't really make any sense. Like, how could they possibly judge an event that's complete like 2 miles away? It's stupid. I don't think the actors are great. The earlier films, the child actors are still kind of learning how to act. And I think my biggest disappointment with the 4th film is how they directed the actor for Dumbledore. They wrote him as a complete jerk who is constantly yelling, and it doesn't suit the character at all. I don't know. It was a mess. So it's not a terrible film. I thought Goblet of Fire, there's scenes that are well shot. I thought the ending was really effective. The return of Voldemort was almost gory. I loved that. So there's good aspects to it. I don't understand why everyone had the haircut of a lacrosse player, but it was just okay. You know, Goblet of Fire was just okay. Blood Prince was amazing. The only problem with the Half-Blood Prince movie is that the romance angle is awful. They had no idea how to make 2 characters merge in a romantic way. I mean, it was like shoelaces and awkward eating and spills. It's like ChatGPT wrote it, or like an alien. It's very strange, but other than that, yeah, Half-Blood Prince is great. Maddie Man, hey, thanks for coming by. Have you come to a stream before? If not, hello. If yes, welcome back. Why do you think jump scares are so hated? I don't see the difference between them and excessive gore. Well, they're similar to excessive gore in the sense like they don't have the greatest reputation. You know, they're generally, by a lot of people, they're seen as kind of a cheap, I suppose, metaphorically, not literally. But I think the effect is pretty different. I mean, excessive gore, it's there for shock value. Some people love gore. It's very much, it can be kind of like a fun B-movie, Midnight Madness kind of watch. Or it can just be used just for pure cruelty, like the new wave French extreme movement that came in the mid-2000s. Jump scares, so like gore is kind of like, excessive gore is like either you love it or you hate it. Like I feel like there's no middle ground. Jump scares I think have more of like a gamut. Some people love them, some people are in the middle, some people think it's fine in moderation, some people like they don't want them at all. So I don't know if I would compare the two, other than the fact that people have very strong feelings on them. I am doing a video essay on it. I'm gonna really like dive deep into everything about jump scares, like their history, their like reputation in like the horror fan base. But I'll just say right now, just my own opinion, I don't think a jump scare by itself is terrible. I don't think like that makes a movie worse. What I don't like is when jump scares are really, really cheap and come like, not necessarily come out of nowhere, because a lot of jump scares do, but when the jump scare isn't scary, that bothers me. So something you would probably recognize is when a bunch of like young people are hanging out in a house or something, and suddenly goes quiet, you think something scary is going to happen, and then some asshole comes out of the corner, yells boo, and scares their friend for no reason. And this trope is in so many horror films, and I don't understand why they feel the need to put it, other than that they feel like they need to put a scare every 5 pages in the screenplay, and they didn't know how to do it because they're not a good writer. And so they figure, well, we'll just have our friend be kind of a dick and just scare someone. But a jump scare should be scary. I think having a jump scare just being like a book falling over or a prank is lazy. I think it's very lazy. So those I don't like. But other jump scares I think are very good and can require a lot of good build up and atmosphere, and the actual images themselves can be very creative. So my opinion, I'm very much in the middle on that. But that's what my video essay will be like. DN, can we agree that Chamber of Secrets was the worst? Can you give me that at least? Because that one not good. Not good. Dear. That was, I mean, it makes sense though. It was the worst book, so of course it's gonna be the worst film. Just logic, really. You didn't see it. Let's see. I wish the movies would have kept Dumbledore at least close to how he was in the book. Totally ruined it for me. In the 4th movie, absolutely. I really do not understand what they're going for. Jump scares do nothing for me and my kids, and excessive gore can take away from the story. It can. I don't think it necessarily does. Again, just for me. But I think it can. There are moments where a scene is scary, and then like the bloodier it gets, it starts to almost just like tip into like silly. That can happen. It's a fine line. But also, it depends for everyone. The best jump scares for me are the Visit jump scare, the one in Sinister with the little girl, the Rose one from Smile, and the Lawnmowers jump scare in Sinister. Yeah, the Lawnmower one was good. Shudder is absolutely going to make my jump scare video. Whoops. I recommend anyone, if anyone wants to see a movie with good jump scares, watch Shudder. But you have to watch the version from Thailand, not the American remake. That movie is, not only is it a really, really solid horror film with great concepts, but the jump scares are just next level. They really are. Like, I think the build up for them is fantastic. and it seems to actually like having a long-term effect on the characters. I always hate when someone gets really badly jump scared something horrible and they're fine like 2 minutes later. That's not how it'd be in real life. You'd be like traumatized. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember the visit, but and I didn't like Smile. I'll just say that straight up. I don't think Smile is a very good film. I think it borrowed too much, and I think the creepy smile thing's just not scary. But I know it works for a lot of people. For me, it doesn't. It looks like the movie Truth or Dare, or like a Instagram filter. It's not scary. it's not. Like, I've seen people intentionally just bug out their eyes, and that looks way scarier to me. So yeah. I mean, for some of my favorite jump scares, I mean, Exorcist 3 has a really good one. Sinister has a couple that are strong. Shudder obviously has amazing ones. Saint Maud has a fantastic one. Jesus. Good jump scares. Oh, The Descent. Descent has a really good jump scare. In fact, I was watching it with, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, but I was watching The Descent with a lovely woman who's sitting very close by. And when they had the Descent jump scare that basically made it clear that this was not just a cave movie, it was something else. And she got so scared that she actually punched me in the face by accident. And that's what it was great though, because that's when you know, like, okay, this is really working. Like this movie is creating the right effect. Because it shouldn't just be random. Like, it should be a part of the world. It should have some sense of build up. Then it's gonna be way more effective. It's not just volume. And that's what actually bothered me about a film I'm going to talk about today. And that's there's a film called The Night House, which is a really solid horror drama. But my main issue with it is that the jump scares aren't just unnecessary. Like, I don't think they added much to the film at all, but they're so loud. Like, they actually hurt to listen to, because they like blow out your internal speakers, and it just drives me crazy. I don't know why they felt the need to do that. But, you know. Let's see. I don't agree. I've seen it. Let's see. Oh yeah, my other chat's delayed, so these came a little later. Which was the Rose jump scare in Smile? I wouldn't say I blocked it out of my memory, but I just didn't think it was very good. We honestly thought Smile was a horror comedy. 8 days. Someone said you're a lucky lady. Because you're with me. I'm a lucky man too. DN says, also saw Underwater. I literally was looking forward for my chores to watch it. Why'd you hate it so much? I'm curious. I mean, I thought Underwater was pretty good. Not spectacular or anything, but as like a creature feature, I thought it was good. How'd you feel about Dr. Sleep? Didn't see it. Wasn't really jazzed to watch it. In my opinion, when you have a movie like The Shining, like something so unique and so classic, I'm a little trepidatious when it comes to like prequels or sequels, or, you know. But again, like, I loved The First Omen, and that was a prequel, so maybe I should watch Dr. Sleep. That it might be good. I had heard mixed things, but I should check it out because I do love The Shining, and I heard Ewan McGregor did a good job, but he's Ewan McGregor. He always does a good job. Best part was the punch at the end. DN, you didn't think the best part was when You Know Who shows up? That was like, come on, that was awesome. That was like, that came out of fucking nowhere, but not in like a frustrating way. It was so cool to me. And like towards the very end of the film, you think like the film is ramped up as much as it has, and then it flips the script and shows you something else, and I thought it was sweet. I'm excited for Shudder. I'm terrified of jump scares and bought the DVD. Only way to watch it in Germany. Yeah, Shudder's great. Like I said, make sure it's the Thai version, but I thought it was really, really strong, and the ending especially, like, it made me think about it more and more, just how horrifying the concept it is. Where I missed someone. Oh yeah, here we go. Maddie, we, the US, tend to do terrible remakes of foreign horror movies. We do. I can think of a couple that are at least decent. The Ring is probably the best US horror remake. I thought the US Grudge remake was actually pretty decent. Part of it is because it was by the same director. But I don't know, yeah, like the Martyrs remake, Shudder remake. God, what else was there? I'm blanking. Well, we remade practically everything. They remade Speak No Evil, and I don't know why. I don't know. People love it. I cannot get behind it. So I don't. Yeah, it's, honestly, and I have mixed feelings about this, but some people in America just cannot watch anything with subtitles. Like, it's an instant turnoff. They can't. They refuse. They don't want to read. Maybe they're not good readers. I don't know, but they won't do it. And so that's Hollywood's way to tap into an audience that may like that horror movie, or at least pay for it, but don't want to read subtitles, or maybe don't want to look at foreign people. I don't know what it is, but yeah, some people just will not watch subtitles. Now, I understand some people maybe just can't read fast. I mean, that's nothing against them. It's just maybe it's just something they can't do, and they may be completely lost when watching a foreign film if that's the case. You could watch it dubbed, but dubbing is usually bad. If you watch the dubbing for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you will hoot and holler because it is the funniest dubbing I think I've ever heard. So, yeah, it's tricky. But if you just refuse to watch movies that are subtitled for any other reason, I feel like you're kind of missing out, because there's so many great foreign films out there, like Parasite, like Pan's Labyrinth, like Wreck, 28 Days Late. Oh no, that's not foreign. But you know what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot. There's some good shit out there. So it's, yeah, I don't know. Missing out. I can give you 100 examples of bad ones. You have 2 good ones. 2 good. Oh, Maddie, I agree. I wasn't saying that, like, there's a lot of good American remakes. Like, 90% of them are garbage. I think that was my point, is like, I literally had 2. Oh, DN, The Punch. Yeah, The Punch was great. I wouldn't say that was the best part, though. Yes. Oh, Missy, the darkroom scene is great. I like the darkroom scene a lot, and I liked the finale is terrifying. The scene with the flashbulbs, when the camera's on a tripod, that scene really messed with my head. US Shudder sucks. Big surprise. Hey, Carl, how's it going? I just saw this guy in Denmark. What's going on, dude? American remakes are cash grabs. I mean, they literally are. I guess, like, the reason why The Ring especially worked for me is because it went in a different direction. They seemed to truly care about the material and wanted to do something different with it, like the color correction. The tape itself was completely different. That, to me, isn't a cash grab, but most of them are, for sure. Any good black and white era suspense horror picks? Not on my list today. These are the movies I'm going to be talking about. But black and white era suspense horror. I mean, the original Psycho is still great. I would say for the most part it holds up quite well. Did I ever send you American Burger? No, Carl, please do. It's not horror, but Hitchcock's Rebecca is beautiful. And it's kind of like a gothic sort of film. Black and white horror suspense. Kind of blanking. Oh, I don't know if you call it horror, but Seconds. A movie called Seconds is pretty disturbing, actually. I would think about that one. We absolutely loved the whole horror. They knew how to scare. Yeah, they had to rely on different things for sure. I wouldn't say like all new horror was bad. It's definitely more visceral, but it's also, they've used different tactics. They've become even more psychological in certain ways. They've tapped into different concepts like abuse or racism or trauma. A lot of new horror films, especially for A24, are just beautifully shot. But some of them are also bad. Like, we still have plenty of bad horror movies. I wouldn't call it a horror renaissance right now. Like, we still have movies coming out like Imaginary that look like absolute trash. So, yeah. it's a thing. Also, Deanna, I did not miss your message. I have seen Milk and Cereal. For those who are curious, that is a YouTube horror short by a YouTuber who had, up to that point, had pretty much done comedies. He's the kind of, very silly actor. He's got big eyes, and his comedy is very funny. And then he started doing horror shorts, and this one made quite an impression on people because, I won't tell you what it's about, and I think it's pretty good. Clearly, like, zero budget, but I think they did actually a lot with that zero budget. And I don't think it's great. I think there's some issues. I think some of the actors are better than the others. I wish it had tapped into the horror more, because I feel like that's where the meat really was. But I would definitely recommend it. So yeah, Milk and Cereal, but it's not spelled cereal like the food. It's cereal like serial killer. Yeah, that's a good call out, Dan. That's awesome. But I'm glad to see that other people watched Shudder, because it's so good. I was gonna do it this year, but I'm gonna do it probably next year. Essentially, what I was gonna do is all my horror lists. I was going to, like, all of them. I was gonna take what I think are the scariest of the scary, like top 5 or top 6, and do a video on those. More of like a deep dive. And so, like, out of the, I guess at this point I've recommended 54 scary movies, and that's not including this, actually good movies. And you just break those down to like a top 6 scariest of all time kind of thing. And slight spoiler, Shudder would absolutely be on the list, like 100%. That is one of the scariest films I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of horror. I've seen all the big ones, a lot of the small ones. I've seen Hereditary, Mama, Wreck, Blair Witch, you name it. And Shudder is scarier than a lot of them. Now, I was going to do a little bit of this. If anyone has any questions for this, please let me know. Nothing's really off the table, and I just wanted to dive a little bit into this for a few minutes, just because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I recently hit 30,000 subscribers on my channel. It's not the level I want to be at right now, but it is still definitely a milestone that I'm very proud of. Obviously, that is all thanks to you guys. People show up to my stream, my Discord, or just watch my videos or comment to my videos. It really does mean a lot. I work hard on my videos. I work hard on the scripts especially. I don't recommend things I don't truly think are worth recommending. So it's nice to hit any kind of benchmark, and I feel like it would be a good opportunity to just do a quick Ask Me Anything on my stream. So if anyone has anything, let me know. If not, we can just dive right back into the horror stuff. Daisy, do you have an Ask Me Anything? Ask Me Anything. It's something people do online, or use an opportunity and just ask the audience to ask you literally anything about yourself or your channel or whatever. Hi, Darth Vader. It's got nothing. All right, Dean, have fun. My only horror-loving friends are my kids, so I can only share with them. Really? I mean, that's cool. Does that limit you as far as what you can watch? Because I feel like there's a fair amount of horror films that you probably shouldn't show to young children. Then again, you're the parent, so it's up to you to decide how much is too much, I suppose, if they can handle it. I don't think I was exposed to horror that early. Horror trailers used to scare the hell out of me when I was a kid, but I guess it didn't really matter because a lot of like the stuff I watched as a kid, like old Disney movies, were pretty terrifying in certain sections. My kids are 19 and 18. Oh, okay, well there you go. I was picturing like 4 and 5. I'm like, they watch Shudder? Holy shit! Like that's hardcore. Oh, then you're fine. Anyone 18 can handle pretty much any horror film. What did you think of Smile 2? Says Darth Vader. I did not watch it. I did not care for the first Smile. I understand it works for a lot of people. They think some smiling straight at the camera is incredibly disturbing. I don't. I mentioned this. I don't think the film borrowing so much from other films worked for me. I found it more frustrating. And I thought the lead character was just like the worst. I did not like her at all. Not the actress, but like the character. I couldn't support her. I found her very selfish and stupid. So it was hard for me to get engaged. Smile has a couple creepy moments, but it kept reminding me of other films, so I felt like I couldn't really get into it. The only thing I feel like it did that was original was a monster at the very end, which was cool. But it kept reminding me of It Follows. It reminded me of The Thing. A big scary moment is stolen straight from an Argentinian film called Alterados. It reminded me of Truth or Dare. So it's just, I don't know. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It's better made than a lot of kind of Blumhouse stuff, but I just kept getting reminded of other stuff, so I couldn't get involved in the plot at all. And I don't think it ever scared me. But I understand why it works for people, so not bashing anyone who liked it. But because of that, no way I'm going to watch the sequel. I mean, unless it really gets a stellar reputation, I don't think I'm going to like it. I think it's fair to say if I didn't like the first one that much, I probably won't like the second, but who knows. Missy says, when they are old and gray, they will still be my kids. That is very true. It's a very sweet sentiment. Yeah, I don't want to stop anyone from watching Smile 2 either. Where you going, Boo?
No, but when you're done, let's go pick up Pokey. I'll be back in an hour.
Okay. Pokey sounds good.
Ah, Phil!
No. You wanna say hi?
No. Yes.
Put a hand in.
Okay, hold on.
Put a hand in. One day I'll get her on camera. Oh, show the ring. There it is.
Where? It's right here.
There's it. There's the ring.
Bye.
Bye. Toodles. Text me if whatever.
Yeah.
Darth Vader. Darth Vader's in my chat. It's pretty cool. Hey, Will Watch, thank you. My mom and I are the only ones who like horror in the house. There's a lot of cool moms in this chat. A lot of horror parents, which is pretty sick. All right, before I move on to the list I want to talk about today, did anyone have any other questions? Not just movies I saw, but like questions about me or my channel. If not, we'll move right on. Did you watch Haunting of Hill House? No. Heard it's good. Didn't watch it. I should though. I don't know whether to watch Haunting of Hill House or Haunting of Bly Manor. Are they connected? Is it nothing but jump scares? I'm curious. You know, because I do like some jump scares, like I mentioned earlier. But if the whole series is literally just brr, 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 I don't know. But I did not watch it. I will actually. It's so funny. I was looking at it yesterday. I was like I saw it pop up and I thought, you know what? So many people have talked about this. Maybe I should just sit down and watch it. Because I watched Midnight Mass, and for the most part, I liked it. In a weird way, I actually liked it less when it got more into the horror, which is so rare for me. I didn't think the horror was as interesting, but all like the religious discussions, the drama, all, like that stuff was great. So it almost like dipped when it got scarier. Never happened to me before. What is your take on The Substance? I watched it yesterday and got hungry right after it. Two things. One, for this, I will be talking about Substance. Two, what is wrong with you? How could you possibly get hungry after that movie? Oh, I want to throw up. They're not connected. Okay. What is your take on the subs? Oh, I just read that. I recommend you watch Hill House. It's fantastic and better go into blind. I usually go into stuff blind. Maybe I'll watch a trailer, but usually blind. My daughter wanted me to ask a silly question for the lulz. Oh, please do. Especially if it's for the lulz. I usually spell with a U, but maybe this one's even funnier. We watched Saw over dinner. Okay. All right, I'm intrigued about the question already. I don't know how the substance could possibly make you more hungry. Boxers or briefs? Oh, boxers, 100%. Yeah. I assumed everyone stopped wearing briefs once they turned like 11. Like that was my assumption. They're just not as comfy. I've never gone back and never will go back. Boxers for life. Boxers and / boxer briefs. If you're like working out. Yeah, boxers, definitely. Your kids are what, 18? If 18-year-old boys are wearing briefs, I don't know. That's a weird school. I'll just say that. But definitely boxers. See, that's the kind of question. That's the kind of hard-hitting question I want to see on Ask Me Anything. Nice job. Shout out to the daughter there. It's really funny, though, that you saw Saw over dinner. Will, I can see that. See, for me, like, I heard Substance was crazy, and that's all I heard. Yeah. So, like, I didn't know it was going to be gross, so when I saw it, I was really stunned at just how disgusting the Substance was, but it didn't, like, make me gag or anything, but it's definitely going to be too much for some people. My son always says there's nothing brief about him. Nice. Sounds like a real smartass in a good way. Of course, you know, you always have to say that, like, if your kid's a smartass, then it's at least 50% due to you, you know? I torture my mom all the time because I'm very much like a talkback, smartass kind of person. And my mom calls me an asshole, but then I remind her that I 100% got it from her, so it's really her fault. What's your favorite horror subgenre? Oh, that's a great question. I don't know, and it's such an unsatisfying answer. Yours is found footage. See, once you start seeing so many horror films, like I've seen over 500, it's hard to pick a favorite because horror is just so, the quality is so sporadic that you see just such terrible films in every subgenre, and then you see people do it right. Okay, I will say, even though they're not all great, I do like supernatural horror. I like, to an extent. So not necessarily ghosts, although I do like some of those films. But I like when a horror film starts playing with really strange supernatural concepts. Like, not just like a ghost shows up at the house and says boo. But when something is literally kind of stretching reality in some way, and the film suddenly becomes unpredictable because you don't really know what this enemy can do. Like Shudder was able to kind of mess around with photography, which I thought was different. Let's see what else. What I liked about Longlegs, and I have some issues with Longlegs, but what I liked about it was it kept surprising me with some of its ideas. You know, it was realistic to a point, and then, like, it would stretch it. It would go a little bit supernatural in some of the objects, and you never really knew where it was going to go. And that, to me, provides right horror atmosphere. This is such a meandering answer, and I'm so sorry, but I guess there's not a specific genre for what I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna say supernatural horror is probably my favorite because you can use that to be unpredictable. You can do anything you want, really, and I think that lends itself well to horror. So I'll say supernatural. I can't get enough of psychological horror. I also like psychological horror. My least favorite would be another good question, and for that, I mean shark movies, probably, because there's like 4 good ones and the rest are dog shit. So probably that in terms of percentage. I really don't like the horror movies that are slow just to be slow. That I don't like. Not that you can't get into the story. Like literally there's no story. I don't like those. Like they're beautifully shot, but there's nothing happening. Like Lamb. Lamb was like that. I hated Speak No Evil. God, let's see. Oh God, there was some movie. It started with an A. I can't remember. Yikes. Yeah. So that I can't. It always makes me annoyed because there's almost a pretentious vibe to it because we're just plodding along. The shots look lovely, but there's nothing to grab onto. I don't know any of the characters. There's not really a semblance of a story, and at the end of the day, I'm just wasting my time. So I don't think it's brilliant. I think it's kind of lame. So if there's a genre for that, that's probably my least favorite. Will Watch says there's a scene involving the tomato sauce sprinkler that actually made me laugh, so maybe I'm the one with the problem. Tomato sauce sprinkler. In substance? Are we talking about the ending with the audience? Or are you talking about an actual tomato sauce? I really like serial killer thrillers and horror movies. Things like Seven or Longlegs. I like the chase, the dread of the person that's just messed up. Yeah, the ending. Yeah. That almost became too much for me. Like it was tiptoeing over into overkill. It was like, if that went on any longer, I'd probably been like, okay, can we please move on? But I think it ended about the right time. Plus, like, the film was so wacky, of course it was going to end with a bang, and it certainly did. Great special, practical effects, too. Will Watch, I would also recommend, I mean, I'm assuming you've seen it, but the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Either version. I actually prefer the American version. I know that sounds crazy. I do think the American version is better. But the Swedish version is still great. I mean, watch either one. They're actually quite different in their story. But I like the American version better. I think it's better shot. I think the music is fantastic. Amazing music. And I think the girl is better in the American version. I think Rooney Mara did a better job. So I'm assuming you've seen it, but it's so good. Silence of the Lambs is my favorite movie ever. Silence of the Lambs is so damn good. I'm always surprised that it's so good when I watch it. I know it's a great film. It won the Grand Slam of the Oscars, meaning the top 5 awards. But then randomly I'll put it on, and I'll be 15 minutes in the movie, and I'll think, Jesus fucking Christ, this movie's great. It's so much greater than I remembered it being. It's easily one of my favorite films. It might be in my top 10 of all time. I think it's fantastic. It's such a good script. Anthony Hopkins is amazing. But I think a lot of people forget that it's also well shot. It's well directed. If you watch it again, pay attention to the kind of POV shots they use. Pay attention to how they make her look small next to men. There's a very potent display of the fact that she's kind of a woman in a man's world, and they really lean into that, especially in the first act. She's always surrounded by larger cops. She always has to kind of, like, the camera has to like kind of look up at them because she's small. That's like a big aspect to the beginning of that film, and I think it's really well done. And here's a question for you guys. Would you consider Silence of the Lambs horror? It's kind of borderline, right? Like, I never found it scary. I just think it's amazing. But I don't know. I'll field one more question and then we're gonna move on. But yeah, watch it's horror, thriller, drama. Well, that doesn't help. It's amazing low-key horror. Yeah, right? It's kind of borderline. It's definitely a thriller. It's definitely a drama. What do you think of the VHA franchise? I'm assuming you mean VHS. I think of it the same way I think of most anthology horror, which is that it's inconsistent. There's a segment in the first VHS called Amateur Night. Bunch of guys go out to get laid. They bring a couple girls home, and one of the girls, I'll just say, isn't what she said she was, or isn't what they assumed she was. I'll leave it like that. The that segment is called Amateur Night. I think you can find the whole thing on YouTube, and it is without a doubt one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed, especially as a man. It terrified me to my core. I didn't expect a movie about a bunch of drunk douchebags to scare me, but it really, really did. So I would say the VHS series always has like these bright spots, like Amateur Night. The Rat Man was pretty good. There's a sequence that's like a cult with multiple camera setups. That was great. But I would say most are just middle of the road. So I would just, go back to my first word, which was inconsistent. They're worth watching. I think some anthologies are better than others. I didn't like VHS Viral at all, but I think probably the first two VHSs are the best. They have the higher percentage of good movies. But the day they make a very consistent, strong anthology film, will be the day we all win the lottery. I hope it happens, but it probably won't. Swamp No Roy, how's it going? I haven't seen any of the Terrifier films. The B-movie gore, it's not my favorite genre, to be perfectly fair. I don't like clap and cheer for it. I'm not dissing anyone who does, it's just not my thing. But I could see it working very much as like a midnight movie with a group of people who are all yelling and cheering and stuff like that. Like, it seems right for that. Are you into gaming? So what kind of games do you like? I am a little bit. So when I streamed on Twitch, I would usually play comedy games because I'm not a very good gamer at all. I'm not. I play CSGO and I'm terrible. Let's see. I usually play games with friends, so that's like Counter-Strike. I played Fortnite for a little bit. I played Fall Guys. Sometimes we play co-op horror games. But on my own, I guess action/story games I quite enjoy, like Prey, Wolfenstein New Order. I really liked Firewatch. It's not action, but I thought the story and atmosphere was well done. I love BioShock. I like the Valve games, Portal, Half-Life. Those games are amazing. I loved Hotline Miami. It's one of my favorite games. Overall, I like games that are atmospheric, that take me out of my current environment. Limbo, great indie game that did exactly that. Silent Hill 2. So, atmospheric games on my own, and just straight fun multiplayers with friends. That would be mine. So, yeah, not a huge gamer. Didn't grow up... I grew up with some games, N64, GoldenEye, obviously. But then I kind of took a hiatus for a long time, especially in college. And then over the past several years, I got more into it with friends. And then I started playing kind of narrative games. It's funny, though. I didn't have a lot of Soma. Absolutely. Soma. I loved Soma. It's funny. I started just buying games randomly once I had Steam in college. And I didn't know anything about these games. I just started playing them. I'm like, hey, that looks cool. And I thought all games must be amazing because I was, by pure luck, was picking games that were known to be some of the best of all time. So I was just like, I'm gonna buy this on Steam, this on Steam, this on Steam. And I was buying BioShock, like Soma, let's see, like Hotline Miami, Portal. Like I was buying these incredible games just out of pure luck. I wasn't looking up anything about them. So I was very lucky that I didn't have to plow through, a lot of mediocre stuff to get to the good ones. Also, Resident Evil 4, great game as well. I did have a PS2, so yeah, Resident Evil 4, James Bond, Nightfire. I played those games religiously. All right, we're gonna move on to horror stuff. How long have I been streaming? 2 hours is kind of my cutoff. Okay, we're at 1 hour. Excellent. Cool. So I'm gonna start talking about this stuff. Let's just give me 1 second. Yeah. I would highly encourage anyone who wants to play a horror game that has a good story to play Soma. It's bottom of the ocean, great visuals and atmosphere. Voice acting could be a little better. Will watch. I'm curious of your thoughts on that, but I think the voice acting could have just been like a smidge better, especially from the protagonist. But great sci-fi concepts, very scary to be stalked around. There's a couple sequences that really scare me in that game, especially with that robot that looks like a turtle. Yeah, back in the good old days, people just bought games without feeling the need to validate their purchases through reviews. Yeah. Have you watched The Sadness? Yes, I have. I did watch The Sadness. And for those who are curious, The Sadness is not a sad drama. It is it's anything but that. It's essentially as a zombie film, but they take it. Yeah, they take it to another level. It turns every person into like the id, meaning the psychological concept of just your pure desires. So not only are the zombies like attacking people, they're also sexually assaulting them, which was an avenue I did not expect a zombie film to go. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's a rough watch. Did I enjoy it? Like, I did. I was entertained. I watched the whole thing. It's very heart-pumping kind of film, but it's at the same time, it's like it's not fun. It's rough. It's very, very angry, violent film that shows some disgusting things. So if you want to see that, please do. I liked it. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10, but it's not gonna be for everyone. But what horror film is for everyone? Good shout out, Peter. It's like asking if you enjoyed Schindler's List. Yeah. Although I don't know if I would compare The Sadness to Schindler's List. Yeah, give it a chance. I mean, the best zombie film is 28 Days Later. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think any film has topped it. It's just incredible. 28 Days Later is probably my favorite horror film, if you don't count Silence of the Lambs. So, that's amazing. Shaun of the Dead is a lot of fun. What's another good zombie film? Is Wreck a zombie film? Wreck is great. I guess it is a zombie film. I don't know why I always saw them as vampires. But yeah. No one enjoyed Schindler's List. Yeah. It's fair. Alright, so I'm gonna go through this now. Remake of Dawn of the Dead. That's a fun one, actually. It's my favorite Zack Snyder film. I do not like Zack Snyder's output very much at all. I don't think he's a good writer. I think he's a decent director. Oh my god, Justice League. Why? But Dawn of the Dead, I think he got it right. I think he shot it well. I think he understood the tone that that benefited that kind of story. It was good. I liked it. What are your thoughts on Nope? And how do you find Jordan Peele? Nope, I liked. Nope was the only problem with Nope, and I'm using this word again. Nope was a little inconsistent. So the last third is like an action film, and yeah, it was fun, but like up to that point, we'd been watching some of the most horrific, intense sequences in Nope. And then the last third's like a fun chase, and I felt like the tone, it didn't so much like transition, it felt like it just kind of leapt off a cliff. It wasn't smooth, that tone. However, the sequence on top of the house when it's dropping stuff, very scary. Will mentioned there's a scene with a chimpanzee that's horrifying and has actually happened in real life, to an extent. Let's see. For me, there's the abduction sequence is absolutely terrifying, and it has been stuck in my head since I've seen it, and it will be probably stuck in my head for the rest of my life. It is branded in there. Yeah, so Nope really freaked me out in some parts, but then, like I said, that last third just, I wouldn't say jumped the shark, but it was trying to be more exciting and fun, but for me, it was a slight letdown. Still good, but a slight letdown of everything that preceded it. So I think Nope is better than Us. Us made the fatal error of trying to include more comedy, and the comedy was really lazy and just dumb. So I don't think Us was as good as a lot of like the critics and people were saying. I honestly don't think it was very good at all. So for the most part, I like Jordan Peele. I like the complexity he throws into his scripts. I like the rewatchability. But I think if I have any problem with Peele is that sometimes he kind of falls back on a trope that he doesn't need to. Get Out was great, but the jump scares were terrible. Us could have been great, but when it's a bunch of people running around killing each other, it wasn't shot well, and it wasn't exciting or scary. And then Nope probably had the least amount of tropey stuff, but like I said, that tonal shift was kind of like a haymaker. So yeah, none of his films are perfect, but I think he's a impressive filmmaker, and his films are at least exciting to talk about. So if he comes out with something else, I'm gonna watch it. You know, he's a very interesting director to follow. The comedy in the U.S. has made us laugh and turned into a horror comedy. Horror comedies are not scary. No, horror comedies are not scary. I don't think that's their goal. A horror comedy is a comedy with like horror elements. I usually, yeah, like that's the goal. Shaun of the Dead isn't trying to scare you. I've not seen Green Inferno. It's really interesting. In a recent video, I talked about like the most underrated film from every year, and I had like 4 people tell me to see Green Inferno. It's by Eli Roth, who I usually don't like, but I'll check it out. I mean, like I said, a lot of people mentioned it, so. Will, I was rooting for Us to get further in my overrated poll. For those who don't know, I ran a poll that went over several weeks about the most overrated movie. Black Panther won. I can't say I disagree necessarily. I think Black Panther was overrated. It's the first comic book movie to get nominated for Best Picture, and I think it was undeserved. So, yeah. But I would have liked Nomadland to go farther. I would have liked Us to go farther. So, you know. Have you seen The Empty Man? Yes, I have. Mixed on The Empty Man. I think there's great things about it, and I think there's not so great things about it. Lead actor did a good job. The girl was terrible. Some very creepy sequences, but it was also too long. So, mix and match. Totally solid movie, though. I understand why people love it, and I might watch it again. Actually, now that I kind of know what the film is, I guess I might like it more in a second watch, because I watched it expecting to be scared, and it only scared me once. So maybe that was my mistake. I wouldn't say mistake. It's not a mistake to think a horror movie is going to scare you. But if I go into it with more kind of like a drama, maybe even the kind of detective vibe, I might enjoy it more. I do think it's too long. I think the pacing really suffers, especially when we get to like the cult leader and like, yeah, and that girl is bad. Like she's just straight up bad. But I think the lead actor did a really good job. I did. I think he more than held his own, and I was rooting for him, which is so critical for that kind of film, that we root for him, and I did. So I think he carried a lot of it. Black Panther is only good in Civil War. That does not say very good things about Black Panther. The end was about 40 minutes too long. I kind of agree. What do you think of PF Afterlife? Or no, what do you think of Afterlife? Afterlife. I don't think I saw that. You have to remind me what that is. What's your favorite VHS movie? Probably the first one. The second one has a couple good bits in it. I would say the second one's probably better. It's more consistent and has the highest ratio of good to bad movies in VHS 2. So I would say the second one's probably the best. But the first one has Amateur Night. And Amateur Night in the first VHS, like I mentioned earlier, is one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen on screen. So it's one of the few horror movies that actually give me nightmares. So I gotta go with the first VHS. But yes, Safe Haven in VHS 2, that was the name of it. The one with the cult, very fun. And the VHS 2 also had the one with the kids and the aliens, and that was pretty fun too. Don't worry, Misty. But Afterlife, I did not see. Liam Neeson, Justin Long, Christina Ricci. Yeah, I have not seen this film. Hi, Alonzo. I'm actually about to talk about The Substance. If you stick with me for the next like 20 minutes, because I'm going to talk about this, which is going to be a video. I'm about to talk about The Substance. Too long, didn't watch. 8 out of 10. Loved it. Love The Substance. 8 out of 10 is very high for me. Some people give 10s out of 10s to like Deadpool and Wolverine because it was fun. And I'm not like that. I'm not dissing that. I'm just saying that's just not my rating system. Like, a 10 out of 10 means it blew my fucking mind. And I guess Substance did, but I wouldn't give it a 10. But I would give it an 8. And I think 8 is great. And it was a great film. By the way, have you watched From? It's a horror drama TV show from the creators of Lost. No, but you kind of lost me with Lost because that show was like... It was just like a cock tease for like 4 seasons. I watched like the first 3 seasons of Lost and I stopped watching because I'm like, you guys are not answering any questions. You're just prompting new ones. This is stupid. So that bugged me a lot, I won't lie. That doesn't mean I shouldn't watch From, though. I'll add it to my watch list. I don't remember VHS 94 very well. Jay Bauman will love it, probably. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna jump to this. Hold on, this guitar is bothering me. There we go. Better guitar. Okay. So, some of this will be a little scripted. Sometimes I like reading my scripted stuff on stream because it makes my voice sound a bit more natural. I'm talking to all you lovely people. You're all lovely. I will add From to my watch list, though. Swamp Nil. Sorry if I'm completely butchering your name. Yeah, Alonzo, I never finished Lost. I could tell they were just dicking around, and that's what made me stop. It was one of those... The show The OC did the same thing. It would like nothing would happen, and then something would happen at the end, and then the next episode they would explain what happened at the end, and then nothing would happen. It was just, just repeating. Okay. They got lost in the sauce. I don't have a little drum set with a cymbal, but I would if I could. Bioto, before we get started with this, give me one second. You guys are all here. It really does mean a lot for people to show up to my stream. It's a small channel. I haven't streamed that often. I usually stream on Saturdays, but I couldn't yesterday. But give me a second. Swap nil is the correct pronunciation. Whoop whoop. All right, give me a second. I do have a Discord, Swap Nil. I do. 1 second. All right, that didn't work. Give me a second. That is my Discord. Feel free to join it. Horror discussions are there, memes, upcoming videos, chatting, shows, games, all that stuff is there. Fairly small channel, but want it to grow, and it's a great way for people to get connected with each other. That's also where I update when new videos are coming out, when I'm streaming. That's where I ask for feedback on certain things or ideas for future videos. So yeah, Discord's right there. So please stop by. Obviously, I got rules. Don't spam it or anything like that. Be nice. But yeah, please. All right, let's get this started. And if I miss reading chat for a second, it's not because I don't care. It's just because I'm reading from something. Because I want to turn this into a video. Okay. Is this still recording? Excellent. All right. Oh, if anyone is drinking something, have a cheers with me, because I'm going to do a toast to all of you for helping me stay motivated with my channel. It's tough for a small YouTuber. The system doesn't really help us out particularly. But hoping to break through and have even a larger channel, and maybe even making my day job would be the absolute dream, because I want to work even more on it and put more videos and make them even better. So, and not just in October, but throughout the year. So to you guys, massive thank you, and hope we get another 30,000 subscribers in the near future. So cheers. Okay. So like I said, some of this is going to sound a little scripted, but please join in the chat. I still have it on the other monitor. Yeah, I mean, small is relative, right? But that's what she said. But for me, it's a small channel. Like, I want my channel to be 100,000 subscribers yesterday. So that's me. Should probably add Subway Surfer clips to capture the young girl's attention. I'll just do a shirtless stream once I start working out again. For me, 30K is small. 30K is small for someone who wants it to, like, pay all of my bills, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, for someone who wants to be a well-known YouTuber, 30K is small. Especially considering I've had this channel for several years. Although, in fairness, I haven't been working on this channel consistently for all that time. I'd say for probably the past couple of years, I've been working on it the most. So, I don't want to like be self-deprecating and say, "Oh, this channel's so tiny, it's worthless." No, but I want it to be more. You know, I can't stay on the stream very long because I'm on lunch break. Happy 30K subs. Thank you so much, Alika. It's great to see you here. But enjoy your lunch break. Alright, so now we're going to talk about this. Alright, so here we go. Thank you again for everyone showing up on stream. And I'm just going to start talking about some movies that are actually good. So, Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of horror movies that are actually good. These are the horror flicks that didn't scare me, those are in another playlist, but prove that this genre can offer many more things than that. So let's jump right into it with Mads. Right here, boom! Too loud. There we go. Oh, is it? Swamp Nil. Alright, that's good. So, this fucking thing. This is, so excited. This is a French film that actually came out this year, and the big thing about this movie, how to put it? The big appeal about this movie is that it's all one take, and not cheated to look like one take, like 1917 or Birdman. This is a legit start to finish one shot. It was done, I think they did 5 takes of this entire film, and then they used the last one. It was basically the only usable footage they had. And when you watch this, it is kind of mind-blowing early on, the fact that they're able to accomplish this. I mean, this isn't a one-take movie that takes place in a living room. This is, for a one-take film, there is a lot of movement. Several cars and bicycles. Someone is moving through a house of many crowding partygoers. People are traveling large distances by foot. Someone throws some poor guy over a railing. There is just constant action and movement happening in this film. I mean, they must have covered this entire city, it feels like. The film also asks a lot of the actors, especially the girl in the second act, who slowly, I'll say, transitions over the course of half an hour. These are raw, physical performances, and I think for the most part, everyone did a very good job. This is the kind of film to really go into blind. I don't even want to describe what the genre is. Suffice it to say, it starts one way and becomes something entirely different. And as it goes on, it's not like the one take features a consistent distraction. It's very easy to become involved in the plot and what's happening to these characters. But just from a technical level, it's honestly kind of mind-blowing what they were able to accomplish. It moves very quickly. It's a short film. Really, I can best describe it as kind of like a bullet just blasting through the runtime. It's, this is a violent, quick-moving, intense as hell, bizarre film. And for me, one of the best parts is actually the intro, because of the actor so perfectly encapsulates being high and hyped up and ready to go and not aware of just how terrible his day is going to go. There are a few odd moments, like the overdramatic guitar riffs going wow during a few scenes that did not suit the scene at all. And in the third act, there's a girl on the motorcycle who decides to be the stupidest person on planet Earth. That aside, if you really like action horror or zombie films or any kind of fast, intense sort of horror flick, I would highly recommend Mads, because it's one of the most surprising horror films I've seen this year. And from a filmmaking perspective, if you're a filmmaker, this is a must-see. Lots of fun, really cool closing credits, very cool opening title screen, one of the best. And I don't know, it's a film that just keeps shifting and surprising you, and that one take makes everything feel like it's really happening. It helps you buy into this world. Check it out. It's a perfect rental with a cool loved one or friends. All right. Next one. So next one is The Night House. This is going to be pretty short. I've already talked about this film in another somewhat sloppy improvised video, but I think I covered the bases with it. This is a supernatural horror film starring Rebecca Hall, and it takes the haunted house concept and takes it in a new direction. So what do I mean by that? Yes, there is a supernatural entity in this house, but the main kind of conceit of this one, the point of interest in the Night House, is that the house is haunted, but it's actually shifting the physical aspects of this home. So there's a sequence where you can see the profile of someone's face in a pillar. There's another scene toward the end that I honestly found terrifying, where the construction of the roof, as seen from below, forms the outline of someone's head staring straight at them. So it's like horror feng shui, I guess is the best way to put it. I had never seen anything like this, where the construction of the house was shifting around an evil entity. It was such a cool concept, and I'm very curious to see how much of it was CGI and how much of it was just some badass builders. But more than anything, this isn't just a horror movie, this is a horror drama. And I'll be straight up, obviously the reason it's on this list is because it's very good, but I did not find it scary. My biggest problem with the film is that the jump scares are annoying, unnecessary, and way too loud. They fizzled the brain. Saying that, the concepts they deal with are very interesting. It's visually engaging. It's well shot. The movie's also a bit of a mystery, as the main character tries to uncover what's happening with this entity, and you're kind of along for the ride. It's an unpredictable film in many ways. You really don't know where it's going to go. Swamp Mill, I have no idea if this was based on anything. I truly don't. However, if other than the very interesting construction concept, like I mentioned, if there's any reason to watch The Night House, it's Rebecca Hall. I don't know how she hasn't been nominated for an Oscar yet, other than not having enough clout, or the fact that the Academy doesn't like horror. So, I guess I do know why, but it's really unfortunate because Rebecca Hall does an incredible job in this film. There's a scene where she's simply telling a kind of a snooty parent why she didn't give a certain grade, and it evolves into a speech that is so gut-wrenching and real that you just sit there in awe. Most of the film is Rebecca Hall walking through her house and experiencing spooky things, and it's unnerving, but the film is also so tragic because of her. I mean, she carries a lot of this film. So much of it, the scares, the drama, all of it is on her shoulders, on her reactions, and how she's able to shift her emotions in certain scenes. There's a sequence in the bathroom where she has to realistically move her character from fear to total bliss and back to fear in a way that doesn't seem jarring. And because she's Rebecca Hall, she's able to do it. I don't think this will suit everyone in the scares department, but as far as a suspenseful horror drama, I say definitely check this one out for its acting, for its concepts, and just for how well it's put together. I mean, there's that scene where it is one of the most hard-hitting and tragic depictions of grief I've seen in a performance. Rebecca Hall is able to do that. She's able to kind of take these dramatic moments and make it seem like she's sitting across from you. And I think that is something worth celebrating. Solid movie. Quick question to the Discord server. Is it okay if I plan horror movie nights? It would depend on my schedule. Just thought it would be fun. That would be fun. Alika, why don't you can reach out to me as far as scheduling, because I can maybe, like, I can set up like an auto reminder of some kind if that's something you want to organize. Message me on Discord. I can maybe help set that up. But that'd be fine with me. Like I said, as long as you aren't like doing anything scammy with your horror movie nights. But that's a really cool idea. So definitely message me. All right. Next up is The Shining. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's great. Hey, Depp, how's it going? All right, so first up, I don't like nostalgia bait, and oh, thanks, Alika. Have fun. Lost by 10 coins. Oh dear. So yeah, I don't like nostalgia bait, and I find it funny that as much as Los Angeles is moving away from drinking milk, they sure love milking the hell out of the past. See, the thing is, this actually good series. I use these videos in this actually good series not just to recommend underrated horror, but to revisit classics and see if they hold up. Some really don't, but some do. And it's like sweet relief when you rewatch something iconic and you see that, yeah, all the praise is actually warranted. So, yes, The Shining is great. It's a masterful implementation of tone and atmosphere that makes the Overlook Hotel more of a character than maybe any other horror setting. Its music has been copied by horror films and games to this day, and the behind-the-scenes footage illuminates both how much of a prick and a master Stanley Kubrick really was. But you knew all this. The reason I wanted to bring this up, the reason I brought this movie up is because of one aspect of contention with the film, and that's the character of Jack Torrance. See, I read Cujo, I read Pet Sematary, which is terrifying, by the way, and some short stories, but never read The Shining by Stephen King. And apparently, the character's alcoholism is a much larger feature in the novel. In addition, some audiences, and especially Stephen King himself, were dismayed at casting Jack Nicholson. People might associate him with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and the character already seemed a bit crazy at the start. The family was already a bit tense, and so it was less of a surprise or a buildup when things went sour at the hotel. I can't necessarily disagree with that. I mean, that's a very valid point to have, and I can understand why that would impact people's experience with the film. But for me, this totally worked on an emotional level because it was like the characters were driving towards their eventual doom. Everything was set in stone, and it gave a more kind of all-encompassing feel to the hotel. They were driving straight towards purgatory or hell, and they could turn back, but they decided not to. And once they are there, they're going to be stuck there, in case of one character, forever. I love the fact that it wasn't a slow kind of degradation into insanity. I mean, I don't know. It made it seem like their fate was sealed. It made it seem like the hotel was kind of lulling them towards the situation. And I'm a little bored, to be perfect. Okay, like The Shining is older, but maybe I'm attributing modern tropes to an older film, which isn't fair. But to be perfectly honest, by the time I saw the film, even then I was tired of the movies where everything is, candlelight and roses and happy, and then over the course of 2 hours, everything is the complete opposite of that. That can totally work in the film. There's no reason necessarily not to do that. But I actually enjoyed the fact that the situation wasn't idyllic, that the character did look a little nuts, that the situation, was uncomfortable. And to me, that added a bit more suspense rather than like this lurching sensation into the horror. It, like I said, it felt like, you know, it felt like they willingly went somewhere that was gonna just swallow them whole, and they, you know, he wasn't necessarily innocent in his situation. He kind of deserved it in a way, and we're all waiting for it to happen. We know something's gonna go wrong. The music's implying it, even the casting's implying it, and I liked that because it established a kind of eerie tone from the very beginning. Please forgive my generation for starting tropes. I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with a trope. It's more how you use it, you know? Exactly. You're on the edge of your seat. There's never a point in the film where you feel 100% comfortable. Even a simple scene of a bunch of guys in an office talking shop, you're just slightly on edge. And while some people are like, I understand why people were uncomfortable with casting kind of this hellfire renegade like Jack Nicholson, but to me, every scene with him implied that something crazy was going to occur. And The Shining as a film doesn't succeed necessarily because of its story, although it's perfectly solid. The Shining is, you know, I think The Shining will always be known as a horror masterwork because of its tone, because of, you know, because of the general unease, because of the atmosphere, of the fact that this hotel seems to be like this living, breathing entity that just swallows people whole. And by establishing tension so early on in the film with the characters and the family dynamics, taking that and then showing it through the Steadicam camera, by showing it through the Steadicam, the cinematography, the just girth of this hotel, we're from start to finish, we're put in a place that feels, what do you call it? We're put in a place that feels all-encompassing and oppressive. So, all that rambling aside, I'm one of the people to defend the casting choice and defend having the family be in such an uncomfortable place from the very start. Not to say it wouldn't have worked the other way, but this made me feel like I was watching a horror film from zero start time to the finale. And I appreciate a horror film that's 100% horror. Obviously, you know, I'm sure 90% of anyone watching this has seen this film, but in the rare case that you haven't, please watch it. It holds up. It's super cool, ahead of its time, and a good time to be had. That's a great point. Someone from my chat just said, The Shining is like being in a haunted painting. Great way to put it. Very great way to put it. You know, it's paranormal, surreal, and you feel like you're stuck in it. Yeah, Shelley Duvall, good shout out. Hey, George Black Cat. Nice to see you. All right, here we go. Next one. Boop, 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 boop. I might get heat for this. I might not. We'll see. Do you like the voices by Ryan Gosling? I think you mean Ryan Reynolds. But I have not seen it. I have not seen it. At least I assume you're talking about the movie with Ryan Reynolds, right? I know all these Ryans look the same, right? Haven't seen it. Want to. It looks weird, but kind of cool. I'm not the biggest Ryan Reynolds fan. I think he's pretty limited as an actor. But I would be happy to watch a movie that proves me otherwise. So, I'm down. You got heat. You got heat. Love it. I think it's Reynolds. I don't think it's Gosling. Okay, so, yes. Next is Final Destination 3. I really like this film. I know that, especially critics seem to think that the first is the best and everything else should just be disregarded. I don't agree. And I think Final Destination 3 was the last great Final Destination movie that we had. The best part of this movie for me is the detective element. For those who don't know the series very well, essentially at the start, someone receives a premonition of a disaster. They and their friends leave the situation, the disaster happens, and essentially they have cheated death. And so death comes for them individually in very fun and splatterific ways. The detective element and the general plot progression is my favorite part of this movie. The story uses the photos taken on that first day as clues, and the characters try to make comparisons between the photos and real life as a way to predict the next death. As a result, this is very visually engaging, and it keeps a good rhythm. It's almost like the film is inviting you to participate. And I found a lot of these comparisons between an aspect of a photo to an aspect of a death or another situation to be quite clever. And gotta sneeze. Oh my god, just sneeze already. Come on, just sneeze. It's the worst. Oh, there's nothing worse. I want to talk about horror. On the verge of sneezing. Someone needs to make a horror movie about that. Ugh. Okay. Look at the light. Yeah. Do you have a cough button? No. I'm just recording this on Audacity and I'm going to edit it later. It is not that sophisticated of a setup I have here. On that, Maddie Man, what holds a lot of this together is Mary Elizabeth Winstead, whose terror and despair feel genuine and help you believe in this universe and its rules. If a movie is going to go supernatural, and if it's going to establish a concept that might be hard to believe in, it's paramount that not just the dialogue, but the performances help it feel grounded, help you buy into it. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead does a fantastic job, especially when she's, unnerved or scared or, on the verge of collapse. I like how this entire series preys upon fears or discomforts that are common, even small, and then just ramps them up to the worst possible place. Like being trapped in a car and being stuck in a car and unable to open the door, or the anxiety for waiting for a roller coaster to start. I mean, that opening sequence, yes, the graphics are not very good, and it doesn't hold a candle to the opening sequence from Final Destination 2, but that anticipation of the ride about to start and all the little things that are starting to build up in the background really does a great job. It really does a great job replicating that kind of panic that happens to some people before they get on a roller coaster. Even as someone who loves roller coasters, my palms are getting sweaty just watching that entire sequence because I felt like I was in her place. X-Files episode. Oh, very interesting, Arthur. I had no idea. I would love to verify that. That's cool, though. I could see these as episodes. Let me guess. I've made it just in time for goodbyes. No, Singing Without the Blues. I'm still going. We got some time. I also, on this channel, I did a ranking of all 5 Final Destination movies. I won't spoil where this one lands, but I'll just say, check out the video. It's very fun. And definitely check out this movie. It's fast, it's the movie's got a really good pace. The lead performance carries so much of it, and the detective element, the clue finding elements to this film keep that pacing alive and get you to engage with the film. Some of the deaths are fantastic. There's a whole carnival sequence that's just a fun free-for-all. And I don't know, I have to just harp again on how much I have to harp on just how much that lead performance adds sadness and gravitas to a movie that could easily just be kind of B-movie schlock. This was a great entry in the Final Destination series. Even one of the deaths personally got to me, which took place in a tanning booth, a place I have never been to and now never will. So, yeah, lots of fun. Clever story beats. Definitely check this one out. Clay, there is actually a really solid horror anime called Another that is based on Final Destination, but more grim in tone. Give me 1 second. I'm adding that to my watch list. I'm going to go ahead and assume it's from 2012. Okay. It's on the watch list. By the way, I do have a Letterboxd. If you go to, I'll just put the link. Fuck it. That's my Letterboxd. But I know you know it, Depp. Worst to best is 45312. Darth Vader, that is most people's ranking. My ranking was a little more atypical. I'm not going to put this part in the video, but my ranking was... I'll just write here. Wait. Oh, that's worst to best. I hated 5. Not only was 5 just stupid, but the lead actor was terrible. God damn, he was awful. At least 5 had the gym scene, which was great. Thank you, Misty. That scared the shit. That tanning booth scene scared the shit out of me. Yeah, it was awful. Okay, Depp, good to know. Swap nil. Roller coaster and log trucks. Yeah. Yeah, that... I will say this. Anyone watching this who hasn't seen Final Destination, at the very least, watch the highway scene from Final Destination 2. Go on YouTube. It's up there. And just type in Final Destination 2 highway scene. And watch it. So fun. So just bloody entertaining. Just great time. Lots of wonderful foreboding to it. I mean, very creative. The special effects look fantastic. It's so good. Hunter's death in FD4. Honestly, I think I forgot FD4. I forgot everything about it because Final Destination 4's main problem was that it was boring. It was so dull. Oh, the pool scene? The pool scene where he has butt ripped out by a pool drain? That one? I thought that was hilarious. Oh my god. Yeah, that was hilarious. Oh my god. Anyway. That terrified you? Dude, pool drains have like almost no suction. There's no way that thing could do any damage to you. Clear critique. Do you prefer Canada or America? Well, I only been to Canada once when I was 12 years old, so I can't say. Yeah, I know America gets a lot of shit, and I know a lot of Europeans who give it shit. And I would trace almost all of America's problems to our politics. If our politics were not so influenced by lobbyists, special interest groups, and just idiots, we could do so many more great things and we could fix so many issues that we have. But I think on the whole, America is a great country, and we're one of the most, if not the most influential country culturally. So, I do think I live in a great country. Even people who hate America eat our food, buy our clothes, watch our movies, and listen to our music. I'll just say it. However, we have so many problems that are fixable. And it's so frustrating because they're fixable. And because I see them being done in other countries. Now, I do think it's unfair, slight tangent here, but I do think it's a little unfair to say, oh, this worked really well in Norway. Why doesn't it work in America? It's like, well, America's a massive country with a huge population, and it's also very diverse. So, things are always going to be harder. Saying that, there are things that we can fix in my country that should have been fixed years ago, and the only reason it hasn't is because of our politics and the fear mongering that happens in our media. That's all. Political rant over. I'll just say that. But I do like my country, and I think there are great reasons to visit my country. So anyone who's outside, anyone who's outside America and wants to visit, please do visit California. That's where I'm at. But if you do visit California, I have to stress, do not go to Hollywood. Don't do it. I know everyone wants to go to Hollywood and see the skyscrapers and see the stars on the street. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. It's boring. There's nothing to do there. Hollywood's a dump. Don't go. Please do not go. Thank you, Depp. Go to San Diego. Go to the beach towns. Go to Hermosa Beach. Go to Newport Beach. Go to Laguna Beach. Go to fucking Venice Beach if you want. The whole place stinks of weed, but it's kind of cool. Go to the coast. For the love of God, go to the coast. Go to Orange County. Definitely go to San Diego. Don't go to San Francisco. But you live in Hermosa? No shit, Maddie. I used to live there. What the fuck? I used to live in Redondo, technically. I was there for like 2.5 years. That's awesome. Please, and if you have any questions specifically about California, if you need help with the itinerary, reach out to me on Discord. I posted my link there, but if you need it again, just go to my channel. The link is there. Go to California, but go to the coast. Do not go to Hollywood. Do not go to downtown LA. There's zero to do in Beverly Hills. Don't do it. I've been here for almost a decade. Don't do it. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. But there's great stuff in California. Just avoid the crap. You know? My partner drives a semi and says we'll never visit California. Is it because of the semi? Or is it another reason? I don't know. I think there's worthwhile stuff in California, but reach out to Clay. And I'll show you, I'll tell you the actually cool stuff to do in California. Not the... Oh, the drivers here are terrible. Oh yeah, they're the worst. Oh, the drivers are awful in California. They're assholes and they're incompetent. It's like the worst combo. Yeah, they're not wrong. The drivers here are shit. Oh yeah, certainly, Maddie. Yeah, it's I believe it. California has changed in all the ways. I still think there's places to visit, things to do, but it's definitely more expensive here. That's for sure. How's Tampa? Don't know. Never been. Gender reveal parties are somehow a threat. Yep. There have been 2 forest fires started because of a gender reveal. Or no, 1, and the other one was just an idiot. Well, they were both idiots, but yeah. I will never leave where I live. I just ignore the noise. Yeah, it's fair. Hermosa's nice. I like Hermosa a lot. And you've added quite a few bars to the pier. Last time I was there a few months ago. And I was like, holy shit, there's actually more stuff in Hermosa now. Anyway, let's keep going with my number 2 film. Oh yeah. Number 2 is Suspiria 2018. This is kind of a contentious movie. And I understand some people might have just clicked off this video. It's fair. I get it. It's okay. I have my issues with the film. I think it's a little bit too long. I think the intro is a bit unnecessary, and the inclusion of kind of the inclusion of like how the war affected the country, I think was unneeded and not well woven into the plot. That all said, I think Suspiria 2018 is the right way to do a remake. What is this film list of? Not Without Singing the Blues. This is a list of... Give me a moment. Horror films that are actually good, meaning that none of these films scared me, but they're still very strong. Boop. I have a whole playlist of them, by the way. So, for me, Suspiria 2018, while it did rub people the wrong way, and I do understand why, I think it is the right way to do a horror remake. Like a song cover, I prefer movie remakes to have their own personality, to deviate a little bit. Otherwise, why bother? The original is... I'm about to get into that, Swamp Nil. So, the original is famous for its vivid colors, and so the director here completely upturned the table and desaturated everything. All the colors are muted reds and browns, and there's none of that bright spark of color anywhere in this film. However, even with that, it still retained, the main setting, that being a dance academy that's actually a coven of witches, as well as a 70s kind of horror vibe. It has split diopter shots, the dramatic zooms, and some of the synth music captures that 70s horror feel. Thank you, Misty. Means a lot. Speaking of, the original score by Tom York from Radiohead is incredible. The songs are varied enough to fit each scene and elevates all of the horror. Additionally, the opening track during the opening credits is beautiful. Very much depth. Another reason to watch the film is Tilda Swinton. She plays 3 different roles and gives each one distinct voices and mannerisms. And best chair kick ever. Suspiria 2018 is great for a lot of the reasons movies are great in general. The editing is rhythmic and intense. The shot composition is purposeful and engaging. The dance choreography is very sharp-edged and disturbing. The music, as I mentioned, is fantastic. Dakota Johnson, who I was pretty much about to write off as a bad actress, actually has, she actually can command the screen and kind of portray this character's inner thoughts and turmoil. Yeah, and and outside of all the technical stuff, Suspiria 20, if there's a reason to watch Suspiria 2018, it's just how bizarre and wild and unafraid the movie is. Not only for the kind of finale of this movie, which I won't spoil, is total bloodlust madness. And the finale of the movie is bloodlust madness, and there's a scene that happens somewhat early on in this film, which I like to call the marionette sequence, where one character is controlling another character through their dance moves. And it's such a long, brilliantly edited, and horrific sequence that just keeps escalating, and you're sitting there clutching your knees, jaw agape, unable to believe what is happening. It's so terrifying, yet you can't look away. And that's really a big consistency with Suspiria 2018, is that it's horrifying yet mesmerizing at the same time. It shows that something like dance can cast a spell and can hypnotize, even as, trippy and sadistic as it can get. I think this is a great film that does have its flaws, but I would never, I cannot defend just writing this off as a cash grab or a lazy remake. Suspiria, this movie very much has its own vibe, its own personality, and there are plenty of reasons to watch it. But if you have any other reason, if you truly do need like a concrete cause to put this on, that marionette sequence is straight up haunting. Leaving chat to watch on TV. All right, Misty. This was also the movie that this is the movie that made it really sink in that the Academy hates horror, because whether or not you were scared by this or even enjoy it, the technical achievements at play are something I don't think anyone can really deny. And to give best editing to fucking Bohemian Rhapsody and not even nominate this is something I will never forgive the Academy for. Actually, did that come out the same year? Yep, 2018. Fucking Christ. Okay. And last up, something I hinted at before. Last up is a film from this year called The Substance. This one is insane. I could best describe The Substance as kind of I could best describe the movie as social commentary meets body horror, and it's not like any film I've ever seen. It's both completely bonkers and expertly put together. It's not just blood and guts for no reason other than pure shock value. It's using it to explore ideas of, trying to hang on to youth. The fountain. It's this like the plot is basically the plot is basically a scientific fountain of youth. An older star, she's starting to lose clout, and she decides to undergo a procedure that creates a younger version of her. And that is the most I'll say about this plot, because it is an unpredictable roller coaster of a film. I really have to... Barbie for people who are not called chiffrilous. Depp, explain that to me. I truly hate the idea that all stories are copies, that nothing is truly original. For one, it's inaccurate, and two, it's such a lazy excuse for mediocre content. And I find that the people who say this are usually pretty uncreative people, or they're artists blatantly stealing other work. A story is not just the major beats of the plot, it's how it's being told. Sure, you could compare aspects of The Substance to The Fly, or Dumplings, or Starry Eyes, but it is totally different from all of them. The way it's written, shot, performed, edited, scored, and audio designed make it this bizarre monster on its own. And not just its own originality, but all of these aspects are done beautifully. I mean, there are shots in this, like, the shot composition is not just on an expert level, but there's so much variety and purpose to them that it keeps you locked into every frame. There's a single shot of a hunchback woman in a yellow coat dragging another girl through a purple hallway. And not only are the colors bright, and the colors are bright, and the tracking shot is well designed, and it's just branded into my head since I've seen it. Yeah, Depp, I agree. I like Shifrilus, but yeah, I agree. Megamind is not a masterpiece, and it's kind of clickbait, that kind of content, in my opinion. It's so much. I mean, the Substance is just a lot. It's a lot of a film. There's so much going on plot-wise, and there's so much going on in terms of its practical effects. I wrote on Letterboxd that this is the best movie to ever test your gag reflex. The practical effects in this movie, the kind of body horror that's employed, has no boundaries at all. I also have to give props to Demi Moore for signing on for such an... I have to give props to Demi Moore for signing on for such an insane project. This might be the best acting I've seen from her, and some of the stuff she has to do physically in this movie is downright brave. The film is very aware of its own ridiculousness and plays it up. For example, Dennis Quaid is so over the top in the film, and the sound effects during certain scenes is like mosh pitting in Jello. So the film is playing up the gross factor because it's not trying to be treated like a serious or stale drama. It's going for a certain aspect for shock value, but it's balanced by its social commentary about aging, about the entertainment industry, and also exploring the kind of desperation that that people have when they're losing the life they once had. It's it's crazy. It is a insane, gross film that's so well arranged. And there are films I've seen that are nutty or psychedelic that are also, professionally done, like Mandy, for example. But Substance goes so far out there with its body horror, with its kind of fleshy mutilations and just how it escalates. And yet there was never a point where I thought, well, this is dumb, or that was unnecessary, or even when this is going to end, because for a movie that's over 2 hours, this thing's paced like a car chase. I don't want to speak too much about too many specific scenes, but I'll just say that for those who have a very for those who are very sensitive as far as gross out, you may want to have a puke bucket or ginger ale nearby. For everyone else, The Substance proves that horror doesn't have to scare you, and body horror can be gross and outrageous, but still have purpose and precision. It is a great film with very effective acting and music and cinematography. And it's proof that we still have some originality left in cinema. We have plenty. There is so much to do. There are so many stories to tell and ideas to explore. Just, if you ever have doubts that, cinema has done all it can, first off, don't. It's stupid. And secondly, just watch The Substance and just be amazed at the kind of heights it reaches and the barriers it crosses. It's, I don't know. It's like, this is an Oscar quality film that it's an Oscar quality film that betrays every Oscar rule. Whenever you're able to watch this one, it's wild and good. And it's really the best way to put it. Oh, I definitely want behind the scenes of body horror. This is a fantastic film. The year's not over yet, but this is definitely one of my favorites of 2024. Watch this one as soon as you can. Okay, and that is it for my yeah, that's pretty much it for my newest volume of horror movies that are actually good. If there's any I missed, make sure to check out the other videos in this playlist, as well as the playlist of actually scary horror films. Yeah, comment below, subscribe, all the support really means a lot. Check out my live stream, and as always, thanks for watching. Best movie of the year for sick fucks like me. Love it. Yeah, I really want the behind the scenes footage. I want to see how they constructed certain things. Deb, I watched Anatomy of a Fall on my way to Vegas. Great fucking movie, but which dog scene are you talking about? So, I won't spoil it. First of all, I'm so glad you watched Anatomy of a Fall. That was my favorite movie from last year. I know Oppenheimer won everything, and that's fine. I loved Oppenheimer. But for me, I'll just arrange this. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So, love Anatomy of a Fall. Great script. I'm glad it went script. The dog scene when it's sick. I'll say, Deb. There were some practical effects involved, but a lot of it was the dog acting. And I thought that was kind of mind-blowing for a dog to perform. I was very shocked at how effective and realistic that scene was. Also, what the hell? Anatomy of a Fall had an amazing child performance. I think he should have been nominated. He was incredible. Why are we nominating people in Barbie for giving a speech? Like, nominate that fucking kid. He was so good. Oh. I got a video for you. Best horror movie list suggested by subscribers. That's not bad. Or if I ever start doing, like, because I've actually thought about this, like including kind of like maybe a payment system, like anyone who, like a Patreon or like a YouTube Premium or something like that, where anyone who's paying monthly gets certain perks, like they get to see the video earlier, or they can suggest what's it, like they get better, like more, like they get top of the list as far as video topic suggestions, or they can even get like a free montage if they're of a certain tier, stuff like that. And I feel like I would do a video with that. I would want to establish some kind of system like that before I did that video. But it's a really cool idea, Swamp. No, I like that. Yeah, Deb, that was that. Nominate the dog. I mean, the dog did a better job than what's her name from Barbie. So, well, I missed someone. Ask me anything question. What decade do you think was the best for movies? I'm so glad you asked that. It's tough because the more recent we get, the more I've covered. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen more movies in the 2000s than movies in, like, the 60s. So, it's hard. I do try to watch older films, so it's not fair. But if I had to choose, I would probably, this might surprise people, I would probably say the 1990s. I think 90s wasn't the strongest for horror, I'll say that. However, it dominated comedies. I don't think any decades had better comedies than the 90s. 70s is close. Also, I think 90s had that balance of realism versus special effects. It used CGI when it had to. It was still experimental, and it was used for either things they couldn't do or just softening the edges around something. But we weren't relying on it. Also, we saw this kind of birth of movies that were kind of underground, gritty, weird, but we're still finding success in Hollywood. So think of something like Fight Club, for example. Indie films are starting to get big. Indie film, and they were just becoming like their own market. But you had very bold directors working in the 90s as well. So I don't know. I mean, when you think about some of the movies that came out in the 90s, you have Lion King, you have Fight Club, like I mentioned. Or no, Fight Club, I think was 2000. Was it 2000 or 99? I'll need to double check that. You had Jurassic Park. You had Pulp Fiction. You had Shawshank Redemption. You had Forrest Gump. You had, God, I'm blanking, but there's so many, not only just great movies, but interesting movies that had clever plots and broke boundaries and like to explore strange concepts that were fearless, that weren't mired in identity politics, but were also trying to play with ideas and have interesting discussions. You had Clueless, which is one of my favorite kind of chick flick movies ever. So 10 Things I Hate About You. Like, you had genre movies like romantic comedies that today's day are just shitty, usually. Like, they're just bland and just put pretty people together. But in the 90s, they worked on it. They had good writers, and they want to, you know, have these characters have depth and weight to them. Election is a very solid film. You know, look up some 90s films. I think the 1970s comes close, though. I mean, obviously you have two Godfather films, Conversation, Dog Day Afternoon, Cuckoo's Nest. So there's great stuff in the 70s. I think 70s is very close. I mean, Jesus Christ. Look, Goodfellas came out in the 90s. Toy Story, Scream, Nightmare Before Christmas, Saving Private Ryan, Seven, Magnolia, Good Will Hunting, Reservoir Dogs. And that's like just dramas. We're not even mentioning the comedies like Tommy Boy, Happy Gilmore, The Mask, Scream, Rushmore, and then those indie films I was talking about, Empire Records and Blair Witch Project, The Craft. Scream was a huge hit. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Galaxy Quest, Fifth Element, Silence of the Lambs. Fucking hell, Silence of the Lambs. What about Mask of Zorro? That's actually a solid film. Yep, 1998. Watch Mask of Zorro. It holds up. It's a great swashbuckler. You want me to list the great 70s movies? Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. I didn't say it was like a blowout victory for the 90s. I mean, 70s is very close, like I said. It may even top it. I'm just going off sort of like what's the top of my head. 70s has some amazing shit. I mean, I just mentioned a bunch of them, and that was just scratching the surface. 70s has great dramas, crime thrillers, espionage, some amazing stuff in the 70s. But Maddie, let's hold on. Can anyone see this? Halloween, Apocalypse Now, which is one of my favorite movies ever. Stalker, Star Wars, huge hit. Taxi Driver, Clockwork Orange, Hausu, Jaws, Rocky Horror, Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Chinatown, Close Encounters, Don't Look Now, Deliverance, the original Superman, Watership Down, Serpico, that's the one I forgot, Patton, All the President's Men, Midnight Express, Fantastic Planet, the original Suspiria, Blazing Saddles, Network, which is very good, Alien. Ooh, this is tough actually. 70s might overtake 90s. Days of Heaven, which is not good, but it's beautifully shot. Manhattan, Harold and Maude, Love Story, which is a huge hit, but I haven't seen it. Rocky, Pumping Iron. Yeah, 70s was good. Dirty Harry, Carrie, Annie Hall, which I actually saw for the first time. Great film. Gotta leave now, but have a good stream, everybody. Thanks, Will. I'm probably gonna end it pretty soon, but thank you so much for stopping by and talking in chat. Really appreciate it. Depp Strider said that Good Will Hunting has become one of my favorite movie of all time. It's a solid film, man. Robert Williams is great. It's tough and quite subjective. Yeah. I also think it matters in terms of genre. So 70s, I think, ruled the dramas, like, without a doubt. Especially kind of like crime dramas. Like, no one comes close to the 70s. I think 90s just had the best comedies. Easy. Even the early 2000s was pretty solid. I think 2010 is where we started to slip, in my opinion. Still great shit. Still very great films that came out in the 2010s. Dunkirk, Parasite, but Gravity, 12 Years a Slave, Her, Dallas Buyers Club. It's not the same level, because, like, yeah. I don't know. It's like, I feel like now we just have, like, Oscar bait films, and then everything else is just slipping, I feel. Like, our biopics are less good. Our comedies, they don't put as much effort into them. The romances, little effort. Even our action films, like, some of them are great, but some of them just feel lazy. And it's just like this consistent laziness. And we still create great films, but I have to search harder and harder to find them. And it's a little frustrating. You know? And it's only going to get worse because of AI. Let's be perfectly fair. So, that's why movies like The Substance, like The First Omen, give me hope. People are trying to make good content. There are great artists out there that are hungry and have ideas and have a vision. They just have to break through this really shitty system that we have. I know. Every action film these days is just John Wick. It's true. Everyone's just trying to copy John Wick. And you know what's funny is that John Wick, which I like, doesn't hold a candle to The Raid. It doesn't. If you watch The Raid or The Raid 2, it's like night and day. I still like John Wick, especially the second one, but yeah. Maddie Man, I missed your comment here. A lot of erotic thrillers in the 90s. Yeah, you're right. Top 10 movies from every decade. That would take a lot of research. It would be so hard for me to do that video. But it would be fun. I actually like these roundups I do. Where is it? Like underrated horror from 2024, acting in horror 2024, best horror 2024. Very fun videos to do. The only issue is my channel's kind of locked in a horror quagmire, you could say. And I love talking about horror, but I also want to do other things. I really like editing. I love montages, but this video did very poorly, even though I think it's the best montage I've ever done. And I did a video about horror trailers, which is still horror, but also did badly. So my lists do the best. And again, I'm not blaming anyone for watching those videos. I'm happy they did. But I'm trying to expand a bit more. And it's with YouTube, the algorithm, and just the way things are set up, it's not always easy. So I'm trying to branch a bit. And we'll just see how I'm able to do it. Do a video series instead of just one. What do you mean, Darth Vader? I mean, this is a series. Technically, it's volume 9. And so is this, actually. Also, I'm going to stop my recording because I have everything I need. Just going to save. Top 10 movie characters from horror, non-horror. Oh, I'm confused. That's a very, very long title. Top 10 horror movies from... Top 10 movie characters from horror and non-horror in movies that will get under your skin. Can you condense that, maybe? Just a little. I haven't seen the red one yet, but the other color you did, blue, was actually added a lot to my watch list. Oh, check out the red one. It's so much better. It's a much better montage, in my opinion. Suggest some non-English horror movies. I did, actually. Give me a second. I really like this video I did, actually. It's one of my favorites. Where is it? God, I need to update some of these thumbnails. Here. I did a video on the scariest horror movies outside of America. This is one of my favorite videos. And I basically picked one country. I picked all these different countries and picked one film from each one. So, I think I picked, like, Spain, Thailand, Japan, France, Ireland. Just kind of zipped all over. A lot of fun. See a list video about the best cinematography in films. I would like that. I mean, I know people do montages of that because cinematography makes for such good visual content. But I've thought about that, actually. I think theming it around the genre would be way easier. Basically, top 10 movie characters that creeped me out. Oh, I see. Okay. So Anthony Hopkins just showed up to a theater and was like, hey guys, how's it going? That's fun. I like when the celebrities actually engage with fans. So, like, they come... They're not just like, oh, I'm here on my fucking pedestal. How's it going? I know, Swapnil, I know. I haven't seen enough films in India. That's a big failing of mine. Like, I've seen a few. I need to see Tumbad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's a epic horror film from India that a lot of people have told me to watch. I don't know if it's going to scare me. A lot of Bollywood films are very over the top. It's just like their style, just like Hong Kong. But it doesn't mean it's not good. So I should watch it. I actually saw a Hong Kong film that was so over the top, but so great. Oh, God, now I'm forgetting the name, but it was really good. It came out this year. Satan Slaves, Martyrs, Inside, Ganjam Haunted Asylum, Wreck, The Medium, High Tension. Those are very good suggestions. Ganjam Haunted Asylum is a movie I basically recommend to my channel at every opportunity. I cannot shut up about Ganjam or the 2002 film May. I think those two are some of the most underrated horror films ever. And it's so frustrating sometimes, like, that... I wish, like, my videos recommending them would get millions of views so that it could maybe get millions of people to watch them. Because they're so good. Like, Jesus. What about acting moments? When there's just one scene in the film where the acting, directing, and writing come together and it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's so many to choose from, though, you know? But it's not a bad concept. Arthur, what'd you think of Ganjam? I loved it. I actually loved it more on a second watch. I appreciated the slower setup more in the second watch. Because when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, this is kind of taking a little while. But when I saw it a second time, I realized why they did it. And I just fell in love with it. It actually scared me more the second time, too, which is unheard of in a horror film. Ranking saw traps. Oh, God. That's awesome, Arthur. Oh, I'm glad you saw it. It scared the shit out of me. Top 10 most depressing movies. I don't want to talk about that. That's no fun. I mean, I watch sad movies all the time, but I don't know if I want to do a video on it. Like, who would even fucking click that? The acting moment one is interesting, but there's so much to choose from. I mean, even from movies I didn't like The Master, there's a scene where Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman, when he's doing like a psychological exercise and he can't blink. That scene's incredible. Yeah, there's a lot. Any scene with Anthony Hopkins and The Father or Silence of the Lambs. Probably me. Yeah. Oh. Well, I'm getting a call, even though I'm on stream. So, interesting. Give me a second. Best book adaptations, I couldn't possibly watch them all. That's the thing. I like to watch as much as I can of a subject before I talk about it, because I don't want my experience to be limited. I'll tell you right now, probably my favorite book adaptation is The Godfather, because I actually read the book and I saw the film. And they did a fantastic job condensing it, deleting what they didn't need, focusing on what they needed to. It's like textbook good adaptation. Display of pain. That is very specific, Depp. I don't know who's going to click on that. I don't think people are typing painful acting. I will say this. If I missed any of these or forget any of these, please comment them in my Discord. You can put them in the general chat or I think there's like a whole section for suggestions, maybe recommendations. You can put in there. Oh, some people joined my Discord already. What's up, guys? Sorry, it's typing. Yeah, please write some of these ideas in the Discord in case I forget them. A Chilean miner. Okay, Deb. I'm probably going to call it here. These are some really fun ideas. I am going to put out this video and hopefully the video essay about jump scares before the end of October. November, December, I'm probably going to increase streams but decrease videos because my channel just never performs well in those 2 months. We'll see. I've also wanted to do a video comparing Breaking Bad to Sopranos. That's something I've been thinking about for the past couple of years. I just haven't had the bravery to actually make that video. Because if I spend like 2 weeks doing that video and it gets 200 views, like that's pretty distressing. But it is something I want to do. Yes, it is very ambitious. There's a lot to talk about. It would definitely be like a 2 or 3 parter, which would be my first double parter in any video. But I think there's a lot to analyze in terms of their similarities, but also their differences. So, and they're both great shows. Depp, I do kind of like your idea of the top 10 movie characters or like creepiest villains kind of thing. That I could do something with that, I think, just off the top of my head. Anywho, before I stop, I haven't watched Sopranos yet. Wait, well, I don't know when such a video would come out. I'm not even in the planning stage for that video yet. So, trust me, no rush. But I'm gonna call it here. You guys have been fantastic. I love all the discussions we've had in here. Thank you for everyone who asked me questions to celebrate 30K. Hopefully, I will hit 50K not too long from now, and work even more to get more monetization towards my channel and do even more with it. So, can you throw out the Discord again? Absolutely. You know, if you actually go to my YouTube channel, see right here at the top, my Discord's right here. And so is like other links like Letterboxd. So you can just click that, but I'll post it here. Just cuz. Dude, I want to hit 100K. It's just hard, you know? What's really annoying, though, I don't want to shit on the guy, but someone else did a video series exactly like the exact same name, which is horror films that are actually scary. Someone made that series, too, recently, and they're getting, like, hundreds of thousands of views. And, look, I'm not going to share my opinion of the actual videos, but it was a little annoying, I won't lie. I'm sure he's not copying. I'm sure, I mean, it's not like no one else in the world is trying to think of a series like that. So I'm certainly not accusing the person of that. But I just remember looking at it and be like, these videos are doing really well and they don't seem like as much effort was put in. So it's a little, but then again, you know, I think it's targeting a younger audience. So it could just be, you know, a different series for a different demographic, I guess. I don't want to yeah, like I don't want to say anything. I'm not saying anything bad about the series or the YouTuber or accuse them of anything, but I did find it like a little frustrating when I first saw that. I'm like, really? I've been doing this for years, and like my videos aren't doing nearly as well, and these feel like they're kind of just thrown together and put out there, and I don't know. It was odd, but hey, to each their own, you know. Real quick. That's the Discord. Should work. If it doesn't, hold on. There. That's better. That's the Discord. So yeah, definitely check that out. Avengers Assemble. Oh god. 10 most violent deaths in movies. I couldn't possibly show that on YouTube. Like, the entire video would be blurred. I would get demonetized so fast. There's no way. That's really funny though. I could never do it. I couldn't show it. Oh sure, yeah, I'll do that. I'll show that scene from the French movie where a fucking pregnant woman's cut open. I can't show any of it. Depp, same with the sex scene. I can't show any of the content. I can't. But these aren't bad ideas. I think sex scenes can be good, story-driven, useful to the plot. They don't have to be there just to turn people on. They can serve the story. The movie, oh god, History of Violence has very purposeful sex scenes. There's 2 of them. A little obvious, but still purposeful. I would say it's still like 80% of the time. It's there to be there. So, you know. No need to show it, just tell how it happened. Yeah, but then I need visual context. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I can't do it. It would just be tricky. I would have to find some kind of workaround to it, you know? Not demonetized. Hey, like that's how I make money off this channel is the ads. I don't have any partnerships with any companies yet, so it's tough. But hopefully I will. Hopefully soon. Top 10 best boobs. Oh dear. Yeah, Depp, sure, why not? Yeah, I'll jump right into that. I'm sure 8 out of 10 of them would be horror films. And with that, I'm gonna call it. But like I said, thank you to everyone. I have no idea, Depp. I honestly don't know. That would take much thinking and much browsing that I'm not going to do while I'm sharing my screen. Do you have a psychology horror movie that sticks in your mind for a long time? Someone really creepy. I know different people are scared of different things. Hi, Tickus. I'm not fully understanding what you're saying. But a good psychological horror film. I mean, there's a lot. I quite liked Midsummer, but it wasn't for everyone. But I think, especially on the second watch, I really understood how well it delved into how cults manipulate and seduce people into their cults. I think there's a lot of psychological impact going on in the film. There's like, if you approach the film not just from a horror level, but from that kind of psychological manipulation, like I mentioned, there's a lot to talk about with Midsummer. So I would recommend that one. You could also say Hereditary in terms of grief and family dynamics. May's awesome as a psychological horror film. I'm sure others in the chat can recommend some for you as well. But those are 3 that, kind of jump to the top of my head. And if you count it as horror, Silence of the Lambs. Amazing. Doc and Django Unchained. There's too many avoidable death scenes to even go through. There are so many. I think the movie Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan has one of the most avoidable deaths ever. The old woman in the acid lake. 10 movies to watch. You know, Depp, someone else mentioned that to me. Horror movies to watch alone. It's actually not a bad idea. I might do that. The problem is after October, horror content like just drops. Like everyone stops searching for horror content in November. It's like a light switch. So we'll see if I have time. I never saw Christine. It seems dumb, but maybe I should watch it. I never saw it though. Okay, if I don't call it now, I'm never going to call it. I love chatting with you guys, but I do have to go. But suffice to say, you all are amazing. I love chatting with you. I could do this for hours. Check my community tab here. This is where I kind of do updates. I do polls and things like that. And also, obviously, my Discord. That's where I update when I'm going to do streams. I usually aim for Saturdays around the same time. And yeah, that will do it. But again, lots of love. Thanks for all the support. And hopefully this video I recorded today with all of you will be out in a few days. So anything I missed, anything I didn't answer, sorry I missed it, but feel free to ask away in the Discord community tab or all over YouTube. But you guys are awesome. Have an awesome day. Bye.